Bone broth has become one of those trendy foods that you hear about everywhere. People sip it like a miracle drink, thinking it will rebuild their bodies from the inside out. The truth is, while bone broth can be soothing and comforting, it is far from the powerhouse many believe it to be. When it comes to building muscle and protecting yourself against sarcopenia, bone broth simply doesn't deliver what your body really needs. Muscle growth requires complete proteins, the kind that supply your body with all 9 essential amino acids. Bone broth falls short here. It may contain a trace amount of protein, but it doesn't provide the full spectrum of amino acids in the amounts necessary to actually stimulate muscle protein synthesis. That's the scientific way of saying it doesn't switch on the muscle building machinery inside your cells the way real protein sources do. Think of it this way. Your body is like a construction site. To build strong, lasting structures, you need all the bricks, the cement, the steel beams, the wiring, the full package. Bone broth gives you a handful of nails. Sure, nails are part of the building process, but you can't put up an entire house with nails alone. The same goes for muscle. You can't fight age-related muscle loss with something that only gives you fragments of the full nutritional picture. Many people cling to bone broth because it feels traditional, almost like an ancient secret passed down through generations. There's comfort in that idea, but comfort foods don't always equal functional foods. If you are serious about defeating sarcopenia, if you want to stay strong, active, and independent well into your later years, then you need to challenge that belief. You must ask yourself honestly, am I eating what truly fuels muscle growth, or am I sipping on something that just makes me feel good in the moment? The biggest problem with bone broth is that it creates a false sense of security. You think you're giving your body what it needs, but in reality, you're missing the key nutrients that actually prevent muscle breakdown. Sarcopenia is ruthless. It doesn't slow down because you're sipping broth. It accelerates if you aren't supplying your body with the right tools. You need protein sources rich in leucine that trigger the muscle building process. You need real nourishment that signals to your body it's time to repair, it's time to grow stronger. Bone broth cannot do that, and no amount of wishful thinking changes the biology. I want you to imagine 2 people. One drinks a cup of bone broth daily, believing it's their shield against aging. The other eats a balanced meal with lentils, leafy greens, nuts, or maybe some eggs or tofu. Who do you think is building muscle? Who is protecting their strength, their posture, their ability to walk with confidence 10 or 20 years from now? The answer is clear. Bone broth may warm the soul, but real protein, rich foods rebuild the body, and when it comes to sarcopenia, you cannot afford to choose comfort over function. So, the next time you hear someone raving about bone broth as the ultimate muscle builder, remember this truth: it's not enough, and it never will be. If you want strength, if you want resilience, if you want to truly conquer sarcopenia, you need to reach for foods that carry the full blueprint of nutrition. Forget bone broth, your body deserves more. Sarcopenia is a word that many people have never even heard, yet it is silently shaping the future of millions of lives. It is the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that comes with age, and it starts earlier than most of us realize. By the time you reach your 30s, the decline has already begun, and unless you actively do something about it, the process speeds up with every passing decade. For many, the first signs appear in their 50s or 60s when they notice that climbing stairs feels harder, carrying groceries leaves them more fatigued, or getting up from a chair required more effort than it once did. These may seem like small inconveniences, but they are early warning signs of something much bigger. What makes sarcopenia so dangerous is its quiet nature. It doesn't strike suddenly like a heart attack. It creeps in unnoticed until one day you realize you've lost the strength you once took for granted. This loss of muscle doesn't just affect appearance or fitness, it directly impacts independence, mobility, and quality of life. Weak muscles increase the risk of falls, fractures, and hospital stays, and once those setbacks occur, the spiral of weakness and inactivity can feel nearly impossible to escape. That is why addressing sarcopenia is not about vanity or looking youthful. It is about preserving your freedom, your vitality, and your ability to live life on your terms. Think about the people you've seen who age gracefully versus those who struggle. The ones who remain active, confident, and independent into their 70s, 80s, even 90s, are often the ones who never stopped building and maintaining their muscles. They understood, whether consciously or instinctively, that muscle is the foundation of resilience. Sarcopenia steals that foundation brick by brick, and if you do nothing, eventually the structure collapses. But the good news is this: muscle responds at any age. It doesn't matter if you are 30, 50, or 70. If you give your body the right nutrition and the right stimulus, it will rebuild. The tragedy is that so many people focus only on external health markers, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, while forgetting that their muscles are quietly shrinking away. You can have perfect numbers on a blood test, but if you've lost the strength to carry your own body confidently, you're not truly healthy. Sarcopenia is a disease of neglect. It develops not because the body is incapable, but because we fail to supply it with the nutrients and activity it demands. And once we begin to see muscle not as a luxury but as an essential organ of longevity, everything changes. Science has shown that muscle is more than strength. It is also a metabolic powerhouse. Healthy muscle helps regulate blood sugar, supports immune function, and even reduces inflammation in the body. When you lose muscle, you lose these protective benefits. This is why sarcopenia is often linked to chronic diseases like diabetes, osteoporosis, and heart disease. It is not just about weaker legs or arms. It is about weakening the entire system that keeps you alive and thriving. So, when we talk about fighting sarcopenia, we are not just talking about building bigger muscles to look good in the mirror. We are talking about defending your independence, your health span, and your ability to enjoy life fully. This is why I say the real enemy is not aging itself, but muscle loss. Aging is inevitable, but sarcopenia is not. You have the power to fight it, to slow it, and even to reverse it. And the time to start is now, not tomorrow, not someday. Because every day you wait, the quiet thief continues to take from you. Sarcopenia is the enemy that hides in plain sight, but once you name it, you can defeat it. Protein is power. It is the most essential building block of your muscles, and without it, your body simply cannot grow stronger or defend itself against sarcopenia. When we talk about food and health, many people get caught up in trends, in supplements, or in single miracle cures, but the foundation always comes back to protein. Your muscles are made of it, your tissues are repaired by it, and every time you move, lift, or even stand upright, protein is behind the strength that makes it possible. If you want to stay resilient and fight age-related muscle loss, you must put protein at the center of your diet. Now, not all proteins are equal. This is where people often make mistakes. You might eat something that technically contains protein, but it may not be the kind that truly feeds your muscles. What you need are high-quality protein sources, rich in essential amino acids. These are the proteins that light up the switches inside your cells and tell them it's time to build. Foods like lentils, beans, quinoa, eggs, tofu, lean meats, fish, and even dairy for those who tolerate it, these are the power foods that drive muscle repair. They don't just give you fragments of what you need, they give you the complete package. Many people underestimate just how much protein their bodies require, especially as they age. When you're young, your muscles are more responsive and you can get away with less. But as the years pass, your body becomes less efficient at using protein, which means you actually need more to get the same results. Unfortunately, many older adults eat less protein, not more. They start skipping meals, relying on tea and toast, or eating light snacks that barely supply any amino acids. And while they think they're cutting back in a healthy way, what they're really doing is starving their muscles. This is one of the main reasons sarcopenia accelerates so quickly. Imagine your muscles as a bank account. Every time you eat protein, you're making a deposit. Every time you move, exercise, or even just go about your day, you're making withdrawals. If you keep withdrawing without putting enough in, eventually your account runs dry. That's what happens to your muscles when you don't get enough protein. But the wonderful thing is, you can always start depositing again. Even if your muscles feel weak now, even if you've lost some strength, consistent protein intake combined with movement begins to rebuild that account. And just like with savings, the earlier you start, the greater the return. Protein isn't just about muscles either. It plays a role in your hormones, your immune system, your skin, and even your mood. But when it comes to sarcopenia, its role is irreplaceable. Without it, no amount of vitamins, minerals, or fancy health drinks will matter. Your muscles need protein in the same way a fire needs fuel. Without fuel, the fire dies out no matter how much oxygen you give it. That is why, if there is one nutrient you should never neglect, it is protein. So, when you plan your meals, think about protein first. Ask yourself, where is the source of strength on this plate? Am I feeding my muscles what they need to keep me strong, or am I only giving them scraps and hoping it will be enough? Because the truth is, when it comes to muscle loss, hope is not enough, action is. The food you choose today becomes the strength you carry tomorrow, and protein is the most powerful choice you can make. Protein is power, and it is the weapon your body needs to fight sarcopenia and win. When we talk about protein and its role in building muscle, it is not just about the quantity, it is about the quality and the presence of the right amino acids. Amino acids are the true builders. Think of them as the workers on a construction site. You can have the raw material, but without skilled workers, nothing gets built. Among these amino acids, there is one in particular that has a starring role when it comes to muscle, leucine. This is the switch that flips on the process known as muscle protein synthesis. Without enough leucine, your body simply cannot activate the full machinery needed to grow and repair muscle tissue. Leucine is like the foreman on that construction site, the one who tells the workers to get moving, to start lifting and building. If the foreman never shows up, the workers just stand around with the materials, unsure of what to do. That is why eating protein is important, but eating the right kind of protein is even more crucial. Foods rich in leucine, like eggs, soy, dairy, beans, lentils, and even lean meats, give your body the clear message to start rebuilding. It is not enough to sip broth or nibble on snacks that only contain trace amounts of amino acids. You need foods that carry these essential signals in abundance. The body is a remarkable system, but it works in cycles. Every time you eat protein with enough leucine, you ignite a cycle of muscle building. That signal doesn't last forever. It needs to be triggered again at regular intervals. This is why spacing protein intake throughout the day is so effective. A protein-packed breakfast sets the tone, a strong lunch reinforces it, and a balanced dinner keeps the process alive. Without that regular stimulation, your muscles slip back into breakdown mode, especially as you age. Sarcopenia thrives in that gap when the signal is too weak or too infrequent. Some people make the mistake of thinking they can just load up on protein once a day and call it done. But your muscles don't work that way. They respond best to steady, consistent nourishment. It is like watering a plant. Drenching it once a week is not nearly as effective as giving it a steady supply of what it needs daily. Muscles are living tissues, and they thrive on rhythm. Leucine, rich foods provide that rhythm, keeping the process of building and repairing alive and strong. The beauty of this is that you don't need anything exotic. Simple, whole foods provide all the amino acids you require. An omelette with vegetables, a bowl of lentil soup, a plate of quinoa with beans, a serving of yogurt topped with seeds. These are practical, affordable meals that send a powerful signal to your muscles. Each bite is a message to your body. Grow, repair, stay strong. And when you combine this with resistance exercise, even something as simple as bodyweight squats or carrying groceries with intention, you amplify the effect. The signal becomes louder, and your body responds with strength. We often underestimate how intelligent our bodies are. Give them the right tools, and they respond at any age. People in their 70s and 80s have shown that with enough protein and leucine, rich foods, muscle can be regained, independence restored, and strength renewed. It is never too late to send that signal, but it has to be the right one. A weak signal, like what you get from incomplete proteins or low-protein diets, simply won't do. Your muscles are waiting for clear instructions, and leucine is the messenger they are listening for. So, remember this, amino acids are the true builders, and leucine is the one who calls the shots. If you want your muscles to grow, if you want to silence the thief of sarcopenia, you must give your body the foods that send the message loud and clear.